Hi, I'm Barbara. I will be writing 2 monthly columns for VaginaCon.com. I'll be writing a tech column called Barb Wired and a music column called Have You Heard? And I'll be popping up here and there with all these cool ladies. So welcome to our book banter.
Hi, I'm Nanea Hoffman. I am the co-founder of VaginaCon.com.
Rosie. Hi, I'm Wendy Burbridge, and I will be writing a travel column called Off the Rock for VaginaCon.com.
Rosie.
I am Rosangela Robinson, and I will be writing for humor and pop culture.
And hi, sorry, I'm turning off my ringer. I thought I did that. I didn't. I don't even know how to do it. Okay. I'm Nina, and I'm the other co-founder of VaginaCon.com. So I thought we could start by just giving everybody taking a few moments to just give their general overall impressions of the book, and then we can get into like detail, love it, hate it, why, as we go. So who wants to go first?
Pick somebody, Nina.
Okay, I'm going to go with Wendy because I know she's been dying to talk about this for weeks.
Hilarious, because I was talking about it at my birthday party last night with an English professor about what we feel about it, because I was sitting with a bunch of English teachers and an English professor, and we were talking about 50 Shades of Grey, which I thought was actually very funny. I am really torn. This book has really kind of messed me up as a reader and a teacher, because I insanely love it, but I also insanely hate it. So I'm very, I'm juxtaposed completely by this book, because I think it's, all right, I'll just be frank, it's horrible writing. I would kill myself if I wrote like that. and I've been judging it against what I've been writing and reading all my life. And I mean, I sort of have the same feeling I had when I read all of Stephanie Meyer's books. I was like, why am I reading this stuff? I just want to kill myself. I mean, like, my favorite writers are like Marguerite Duras and Alexandre Dumas and Thomas Hardy and Shakespeare. And I mean, they're
like real writers.
I know.
Grown up.
Yeah, you know, depending on how you look at it. Of course, everybody has their own judgments. But, you know, F. Scott Fitzgerald, I mean, I live and die by The Great Gatsby. So, like, that's why I downloaded it to my iPad, because I didn't want anybody to know I was reading.
I've heard that a lot of, like, you know, she's been making, E.L. James, the author, has been making we lost Wendy.
She'll come back.
Yeah, I figured. She's been making the circuit, you know, talking about this on different talk shows and stuff, and people admit that the same thing, like they'll put it on their e-reader because they don't want to walk around with the hardcover so that people can see what they're reading. So, of it, overall.
You know, I see a lot of what Wendy's saying. I'm going to give the woman that she wrote something really compelling and that people want to keep reading. They want to know what happens. The writing is bad. I mean, she makes Stephanie Meyer, in my opinion, look like F. Scott Fitzgerald. But then again, you have to wonder, because how much editing? You know, this is a book that needs editing. I think she's got a compelling story. I think clearly we all couldn't put it down, but needs some editing. And I think it's really exciting because she's paving the way for a lot of independently published people to maybe get legitimate book and movie deals out of their writing. I wish there had been a better example of writing that got that. But, hey, good on her. She wrote something people want, and you got to give her credit for that.
Okay, so I have a question then before we go to Nanea and Rosie. Is that okay? Is it okay to, you know, I think sometimes, oh, here she comes.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Hi, sorry.
Okay.
Computer stalled.
I was just going to make the point that it seems that, you know, I think it's great if you can have a great writer and a great storyteller all in one.
Right.
But sometimes you may not get that. Sometimes you may get someone who has a passion for writing and maybe not necessarily all the technical skills and the nuances of being a great writer, but they have a story to tell, and they do it in a way that it makes you want to keep reading. And so is that okay? Have we gotten too snobby that we think that everything has to be perfectly written? Is there a place for people who can just tell a story that you don't want to put down and it takes you out of your everyday life, you know, for a few hours a day? Is that okay?
I think so.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think it reiterates, though, the use of editors in our society, in our writing society. Again, I think she wrote some really compelling stuff, and she, you know, she should be commended for that. It's more, I was just more thinking about the edited nature of it. But for fan fiction, which is what this was, you know, it's interesting. I would be interested to read what an editor would have done to it.
Right.
Because she just spun a yarn. She didn't care what people thought of it.
So I'm going to get to Linnea and Rosie, and then just remind me, Barbara, to get back to that, because we're going to talk about the whole fan fiction aspect of it, and I actually have a question. So, Rosie.
Hi. I liked it. I mean, yeah, I guess, you know, it was really horribly written, but it was, to me, it was a guilty pleasure. It was, you know, everything is so nowadays fast-paced, and you have to, you know, there's so much that you have to do, and this was just kind of like a, I'm just going to forget about everything for a minute, and I'm just going to read, and I'm just going to let myself just get completely wrapped up in this world of their little romance. I mean, it's just like everybody that watches The Bachelorette and all this other. It's not the best TV in the world, but it's entertainment, and I thought that for entertainment, I think she did a great job.
Okay. Linnea?
Oh, God, okay.
I saved you for last on purpose.
So I know, I'm the womp-womp. So my son is 14, and Barbara, you were saying your kids don't have any idea. Well, he knows what I'm doing, and he knew that I'd be talking about this book today because it took me until last night to finish it. It was not because it was a difficult read. It was just, as I told him, every time I pick up that book and read it, I feel like my soul dies a little bit. That was his reaction too. And, you know, we were having this discussion about, like, you know, obviously I didn't go into detail with him, but it was like, well, why? What is the problem with it? Because obviously a lot of people like it. And for me, I have to really care about and like the characters. I'm all about character-driven fiction. Like, Nina, we went to see the Avengers last night. And so I used Joss Whedon as a perfect example of somebody who can just, if you're in with the characters, I don't care how fantastic or ridiculous the premise is, you will go with them on that journey. And I just don't care about this dippy broad having sex.
It's true.
She makes every bad decision that I wouldn't want my daughter to make. Yeah. And she's in love with a man who does everything that I would never want my son to do if he were in love with a woman.
Good point.
You know, like, this is just so for that to be romanticized. I know I have personal issues because I know that people do enjoy it, and you know, I'm not judging people for enjoying it. I get that, but for me personally, having been in a relationship that was not healthy with a very controlling person, to see that, you know, interpreted as like passion, you know, it disturbs me. So I couldn't just forget about everything and lose myself in it. That, and you know, the little stylistic ticks, like, I actually did a search. She says holy shit 55 times in the book.
How about holy cow and holy fuck?
Holy cow, holy crap. Holy shit. I did a search for the word holy to see how many times she used that, you know, in the phrase. 160 times.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay, so for me, it's like, you know, when you get kicked out of this chat or whatever, every time I would read that, I'd get kicked out of the book. You know what I mean?
Well, we'll address that when we go back to the editing point that Barbara brought up. I just want to say, overall, I enjoyed it. I don't even know that I liked it. I enjoyed reading it, if that makes sense. My issue was, I don't like erotica, which I guess this is technically erotica. I'm not very, like, for something to be sexually stimulating for me, I'm, like, visual. Like, I like porn. Like, I will admit, I like porn. I don't want to read sex. And so when I've read erotica in the past, it makes me giggle. It's like, you know, it's not sexy to me. So I was just really curious. And Linnea picked the book for this month, and I thought, okay, it's different, it's hot right now, everybody's discussing it, it'll be a fun choice. So I started reading it, and I felt like I could tell you exactly, like the first 14% of the book was like a really bad, to me, Harlequin novel.
Yeah.
Right? Remember when you were a teenage girl and you discovered Harlequins? And it was just like, you know, you thought, it was kind of like how you thought relationships worked, right? And so I'm reading it and I'm like, wow, here we go again. It's like this girl who's attractive, but she doesn't know it, and she only knows it and starts to believe it when a really hot man wants to put his penis in her. Then all of a sudden she's like finding her inner goddess, right?
The inner goddess.
Yeah, we'll get to her in a second. But like the first 15% of it, I thought, wow, this is more of a Harlequin kind of romance than I thought, with the hand holding when they met for tea and the elevator flirting. And I was like, okay, I can get with this. This isn't too dirty. But I was waiting for the dirty parts because that's what everybody was talking about. Right. And I was getting offended because I was like, where's the smut? And of course, I was waiting, and it was 21% before we got penetration. And I must say that I thought it was hot. You know, I was reading it. I told Wendy this late at night, and it's like, you know, I'm like, she's looking at my husband sleeping, and I'm like, I'm embarrassed because I'm like blushing, and I'm, you know, saying things out loud like, oh my God, I can't believe, you know. So I thought that was like semi-hot. And then I was curious because I thought, okay, the BDSM aspects of it, I know nothing about that lifestyle. So I was really curious, and I was surprised by how it seems like they almost she romanticized it. And I really wondered if people who are in that lifestyle, would they be offended? It was like she almost was saying, you know, to get you to like this, I'm going to make, like, you know, he has to be falling in love with her. I would have been really curious to see how this book would have read if it was just, that's who he is, and he's not, because it was so obvious she was, you know, he's falling in love, and she doesn't know he's falling in love, you know. It was, for my issue with it, I thought it was almost too much of a Harlequin meets erotica, where I think I would have preferred it just to been erotica. I feel like it's like erotica light.
Right. The job of Harlequin romances is to change the man, right?
I was just going to say that.
The man is the way he is, and then this woman comes along, and she changes everything about him. He becomes a better man because of her.
Right.